I would like to welcome everyone to the 54th episode of Money Trees. My generation has become the biggest advocates of the multidisciplinary lifestyle. We are, as the quote goes, jacks of all trades. This quote has come to have a rather cynical meaning, implying we are spread thin with our talents and are superb at none. Well, the full quote is a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. 20 Duce is an artist, ghostwriter, producer, videographer, and NFT collector. Once you dive into his portfolio, you will see why his skill set is so well suited for all of these fields. I'm very excited to be chopping it up with him today on the show. How are you feeling, Duce?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. How you doing?
Man, I am blessed and highly favored. I said it already, but I had a nice tweet set up for you. And I was like, yeah, about to do this announcement, Money Trees number 54. And I click your page, and what do I see? Nets are trash. I got Brooklyn in the bio, bro. Like, it hurt my soul. But you are a Lakers fan, and I just want to address, at least I got to watch them lose four more times.
Hey, hey, that's true. That's very true. Like I got a lot of homies from New York, so we always go back and forth. A lot of them are kind of switching their loyalty up though. They was Knicks fans, now they Nets fans. Now they reconsidering the Knicks again.
I ain't
But
going back to the
nah,
Knickerbockers.
man, at least y'all made it further than we did. But I was happy to see y'all go too.
Damn, man. Yo, look. How are you a Lakers fan if you Carolina made and you living in Atlanta?
Well, I'm Carolina made. I was raised in Virginia, but like Virginia, we didn't have any like major sports teams. So like my love for the Lakers, it actually started with Eddie Jones. Eddie Jones was like one of my, you know what I mean, like one of my sleeper players that I just thought was dope. And then that transitioned over to Kobe Bryant. And when Kobe Bryant came, it was just like solidified. Growing up in Virginia, especially where I'm from, Newport News, Allen Iverson was always the hometown favorite. So it's always love for Iverson. Like he will always be like in my top two favorite players, him and Kobe. But yeah, I just gravitated towards the Laker kind of at a young age, man.
All right. I'll respect that. I'm gonna rescind my bandwagon comment and not give you no slack for not rocking with the Bobcats.
Nah,
Oh,
nah, nah. Diehard
which
Lakers over here.
so you said you grew up in Virginia. Which Carolina were you born in?
South Carolina. Yeah, I was born in Sumter, South Carolina, and I moved to Virginia probably 9, 10 years old, something like that.
Yeah, let's jump right into it. We were playing your record that you just put out on catalog, Beat Up Cars featuring Mick Jenkins. Shit is a vibe. How did that song come about?
It's crazy. When I got into the whole NFT space, I was jumping in different rooms and getting myself familiar with people, and I encountered a lot of dope artists, in my whole journey. And one of those artists was a guy by the name of Heno from Tacoma Park, Maryland. And he's a cool dude. Me and him vibe like right off the bat. We got like a similar background or whatever. But he actually did a video with Mick, and Mick was in one of his Twitter spaces, and I just got an opportunity to kind of chop it up with him there. Mick is somebody, as a lyricist that I've always respected heavily, and I chopped it up with him a little bit on there, and then we started chopping it up, offline. And he's just a cool, real humble dude, especially for somebody, of his stature. Like he's kind of like a sleeper artist. You know what I mean? If you look on the numbers, he does way bigger numbers than a lot of these more popular dudes. But he's very humble, and he was cool. I told him the idea for the song. I shot it to him. He loved it, and probably within a couple of days, he shot me something back, and I was like, "Dope, let's run it like that." And that's just kind of how it came about.
Why did you end up wanting to do? Excuse me. Why did you end up wanting to drop it on catalog?
Like I said, I had kind of been looking at the NFT space for a while. I actually put some other mints out there, just I think on Zora and maybe Mint songs. but they were kind of like they weren't like I hate to use the word throwaways, but they weren't like my, cream of the crop. I kind of just wanted to test it out to make sure that I was doing everything the right way because I didn't really know, you know what I mean, the whole process of minting the song and how to do it or whatever. So I did that, and then once I became kind of confident with how everything works and understanding the technology, I was like, okay, I think I'm ready. But I want to put out something, for my like official Genesis. I want to put out something meaningful. And I had been, hearing about catalog for a while. I had been hearing about sound, XYZ, of course, for a while. And I was like, man, I really just like, you know what I mean, the blueprint that both of those companies, came up with. And there's a lot of other ones out there as well, but just for me particularly, that those just kind of caught my, interest. And a lot of, like the homies that I made in the space, they were dropping on some of those platforms as well. And I just felt like it was right. You know what I mean? I felt like it was a good place for my music to live. And it just kind of piqued my interest. Like catalog gives you that whole almost like record store feel, you know what I mean? And that's kind of like my era. So, I just wanted to be a part of that. And I actually, like I applied for them a long time ago. Even before I was ready to probably even put music out just because I like the platform so much. But they got back to me and the timing was kind of divine and it just went from there.
You talked about the thought that went into this drop, how you explored the space and have been paying attention in the space even before you started putting out your own art into the Web3 ecosystem. As a musician, it's always interesting for me seeing what motivates people to start dropping NFTs. I've said it a bunch, but I'll kind of reiterate it. Anytime I talk to artists, it's always from a perspective of understanding your why. You need to know why you want to get into Web3, what Web3 can bring to your career, what these platforms do, what the audiences are, and why it makes sense for the story that you want to tell before you say, yo, let me go drop something as an NFT. Because it's not so simple. It's not just, oh, I'm going to make this an NFT and now I'm going to go and collect some huge check because whatever. You really need to understand what's going on in the space. So I want to talk to you about marketing and your approach there. But first, I would love to know what made you even start paying attention to the space in the first place. Because you were rapping before you got into Web3. What was like, okay, what was that moment when you said, maybe something's happening over here in this NFT space I need to be paying attention to?
Yeah, definitely. So to be honest with you, I had kind of like so I have a whole EP, and I talked about this before, but I have a whole EP with 88 keys. Um, for anybody who doesn't know who 88 Keys is, he's like Kanye West's right hand man. He produced like half a Donda, amongst a whole lot of other things. But I did a whole EP with him, and that was going to be like my biggest project, up to date. Um, we never got a chance to finish that EP, pretty much because of Donda. I mean, realistically, it's kind of because of Donda. Like, you know, I'm nowhere near the caliber of artist Kanye West is yet. So it's like, when he calls, of course, whoever's working with him goes running. Like my stuff can be, pushed to the back burner. And I understood it. I wasn't, mad about it. There was no hard feelings. But it was very defeating. You know what I mean? Like this is my biggest project to date. I'm ready to get it out. And it just keeps getting pushed to the back, pushed to the back, pushed to the back. And, I invested a lot of time and resources into getting it done. So like when that happened and like this is over the process, I mean this is over the course of like maybe 2 years. When that happened, I kind of just like I said, I kind of felt defeated and I kind of just realistically I just kind of started falling back from music a little bit. And when I fell back from music, I started to get in more and more into crypto. A friend of mine was really, really involved in crypto and he kind of put me on to it. And I started to get into it and I really, really started enjoying it. You know what I mean? So my wheels just kind of got to turning and I was like, man, I wish there was a way that I could, create a marriage between crypto, which is like my newfound love, and music, which is like my, my real love. And my mind got to turning on how I could do it. And then one day I kind of brushed across NFTs and the ideas of NFTs, but when I seen it, it was for art. And I was like, oh, this is dope. You know what I mean? I get it. I understand it, even though a lot of people didn't. And I was like, well, I see a lot of stuff for art, but I see an avenue for music. How could I do this with music? And I actually started thinking about, ways of doing it. And then I stumbled across Ibn, which is he's an artist from Chicago, and I heard about his whole mirror fund, and then I stumbled across Latasha, and I seen her do, the whole thing with her videos, and I'm like, man, this is exactly what I was thinking about. And so it's crazy that I stumbled across these people that are actually doing it, and that kind of birthed my interest, well, piqued my interest, I should say, and that's kind of how I got into it. But I didn't want to jump in without, like, I'm a very like calculated person, so I didn't want to jump into it without like doing my due diligence and learning it and learning the community and things like that. You know what I mean? Before I was ready to, jump in.
Yo, are we gonna get that 88 Keys project? Has it been shelved or like?
I don't. It hasn't been shelved. Um, I hope. I hope we're gonna see
Okay,
because
yeah, nah, not to
it's
put too much pressure on
nah
it.
nah nah
I
nah
had to
nah
ask.
nah. It's like 85% done. So we're gonna see. Hopefully, we can make that happen. I definitely want to put it out. It's definitely a crazy body of work. So I hope we can still get that done.
I would love to hear that. You mentioned Ibn. Shout out to Ibn. You mentioned Latasha. We give Latasha so much love on this show. What's it been like for you figuring out, especially having these very unique examples to pull from? Where I think with Ibn's crowdfund, he killed it, was able to connect with people at a human level, talking about his story, talking about his journey as an artist, and people finding a way to connect with the danger zone. And that marketing combined with storytelling really worked out for him. For you, what's been your approach to finding ways to market your NFTs?
I just kind of, like I said, I've been kind of making like genuine connections with people, and just showing up for other people. And because a lot of these people, I really think they're extremely talented, and it's kind of just been like an organic thing for me. You know what I mean? Just showing up and supporting other people, and then that love has kind of got reciprocated. You know what I mean? um I do have other plans for marketing, especially when some of these NFTs sell and I get the funding. Like, I have close friends that are PRs and things like that nature, so I kind of want to attack it and bring more eyes and attention, to what I got going on. But like, as far as in this space, it's so much different than Web 2, man. It's just like everything just kind of happens like organically. When I had my drop party for this record with Mick, so many people showed up, and I only probably ask maybe a handful of people that I really rock with to like pull up for me. But like, so many people showed up that I didn't even expect to show up, or that I didn't ask to show up, or things like that. So it's just like real. It's been real organic, and I like it like that. You know what I mean? And it's pretty much just like one of those situations where the marketing is just coming from being a decent human being, and showing up and showing love to other people. So that's just kind of how it's been working for me.
Yeah, I ask because I think that there's some misconceptions about the work that goes in when an artist drops an NFT. They don't just upload it and then, let it live. You said it, you're showing up for other people, you're taking part in conversations, you're hosting spaces. I think that spaces becomes a very like fickle kind of beast because if you're not a self advocate as an artist, it could be a little difficult gaining traction in the space. This isn't something that you have to worry about, as you've also hosted talk shows with Umbda Daima. How did that come about?
Yeah, Umbda Daima, man, they're so dope. That came about. I was actually following them, and I'd actually jumped into a couple of their rooms. And Iris, who's like the boss lady over there at Umbda Daima, she she sent out this. I don't remember if it was a tweet or maybe she said it in the space, but she said, pretty much in a nutshell, she was looking for moderators. So I was like, I would definitely love to be a part of it. This is a platform that I respect. I'm a holder of their social token and everything. So I was like, let me see about that. And I reached out, and she pretty much gave me the rundown. We had like a Zoom call. She gave me the rundown of the shows that she wanted to put together and what shows she was looking for moderators for, and the time slots and all of that. And I actually became a part of the On Point talk show, which we host Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. I met, my co-hosts. They're all real dope people. We click, we gel naturally. So it just kind of like organically worked out. It's like we just picked the perfect group of people to be moderators. But I've enjoyed it thoroughly. I like the idea of talking about topics and things that are going on in the Web3 space. And you know what I mean? Just sharing ideas and opinions. That's just kind of how that came about. And it's been a dope experience ever since. One of the things, not to move away, but one of the things just from a marketing standpoint that I haven't done yet is pulled up to these in real life events, which is also very important for any artist, trying to get involved in the space. Sure, you can, do what you do on the internet, but there's still nothing like in real life. So my first real in real life event will be NFT NYC, your neck of the woods. So I can't wait to pull up there and finally meet a lot of these people that I've been talking to almost a year now.
Whew. Yo, man. Okay. Shout out to the team over at Umbda Daima. I had a question, but I'm going to skip over that question because you brought up a very, very good point. You have to be outside. And I keep saying it, maybe in a few years he will look back and this will sound like the old man get off my lawn take. But for now, nah. You have to be outside. I think that when things happen online, it's cool. They can be felt, but there's so much noise, like literal noise in this digital space that those moments can only live with you, but for so long. But when you're outside, there is connection, there is a human element, there is a vibration that cannot be recreated through any phone, computer experience. I'm sorry, it's just not there yet. And so I love that you are prioritizing being outside. NFT NYC is the amount of people where South by a few people went, NFT LA, Miami, Basel, I think had a lot of people go through, but the way that I've heard NFT NYC events and like just the roster of people that are going to be there, I cannot imagine what comes out of that week here in the city. Well, I'm saying here, I'm not actually there at the moment, but anyway. You've talked about how there needs to be an NFT New Orleans and an NFT Atlanta. I think NFT Atlanta is cool, but one of my homegirls, actually an alum of the show, the Gen Z exec, had a way more fire branding idea because I think NFT is like that's all right, but that name don't really slap. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
NFT, then
yeah.
putting the name of the city, like that's not really something like, oh yeah, I'm at NFT NYC. That kind of rhymes because of NYC. But anyway, I digress. She was like, yo, we need to do ETHlanta. And I was like, oh, okay, see, there we go. Like now we've got something that rolls a little bit more off the tongue. And so I think this is a little bit of a tangent. But what made you pick New Orleans and Atlanta as two cities you wanted to see the crypto blockchain conference vibe happening?
First of all, ETHlanta is fire. You know what I mean?
That's what
Like
I said. Yeah,
that's
she got all the
fire.
branding locked up right now for it
Yeah,
too.
that is fire. Yeah, because NFT NYC, that just rolls off the tongue so nice. And the NFT LA, that's cool. And then Art Basel is just like its own thing. I actually plan to do Art Basel this year too. I wanna have an event out there with my wife. Just for me, a lot of like places like ETH Denver and all of that thing. It's like it's cool, but I wanted it to be, in some places where it's more of, us. Like when I say us, I mean like Black people in the in the space. And I just feel like New Orleans is, for one, is just such a rich city with so much culture, I felt like it would just be a dope vibe. I mean, like they have the Essence Fest out there and things like that. And then Atlanta, like I live in Atlanta now, and it's just, I mean, this is outside of New York. This is the East Coast music hub. You know what I mean? So down south. So it's like it only makes sense. You know what I mean for a music NFT event anyway to be in Atlanta, and it's made for that. You know what I mean? And not only that, there are so many wealthy black people in Atlanta that will probably be like, well, what is this, and maybe I need to get involved in this, and opportunities can come from things like that. And then there's a lot of uh, you know, it's a lot of music business out here that may be the same way. Like, what is this, and why is it so popular? It's right here in my backyard. Well, what's going on? Maybe I need to check this out. And who is this artist? You know what I mean? Why are they so popular? It just makes sense. You know what I mean? For me, so that's just kind of why I was, championing it. But we'll see. But ETHlanta, that's fire.
Now, New Orleans and Atlanta make a ton of sense for all of the reasons that you've just said. That was as I'll say, the politically correct answer. The fucking parties would be insane. Let's be
Oh,
real.
crazy,
Like, if we're,
crazy.
and that's the thing with the one element where somebody the other day through, because they had ETH Amsterdam, and they were like, "Oh, yo, it was good for a crypto party." And I'm just thinking about that, and I'm just like, "Yo, I don't want. There shouldn't have to be a distinction. The amount of money that gets thrown around in this space, the amount of money that's made in this space, you could have insane events that are curated. The problem is the people that are throwing the events don't necessarily know what the most you know what, no, I'm not even gonna say that. I'm not gonna knock him. I just feel that it needs a little bit more spice, a little bit more culture added to it, and the events could be much better than what we've been getting. Keep it on. Actually, you know what, we talked about how you're a multidisciplinary, and we've been focusing so heavily on the music side. I would love to dive into the film element of it. You say you're a videographer, and now this is something I've always just wondered, is there a personal distinction for you between a videographer and a cinematographer? And I'll give you my perspective before you answer. I think of videographers, I think of vlogs, I think of weddings, I think of music videos to an extent, but I think of a certain style of music video. I think cinematographer, I think film, documentary, a higher quality, right? And I'm not saying that as a knock. I'm saying that as, is it a branding thing? Is it actually just the contents that you're filming? Why for you, like, where does that distinction lie for you?
I think you hit the nail on the head. Like I would agree 100%. And for me, so I started back in Virginia. I started like rapping with like a group of my close friends that I grew up with. And our problem back then when we were a lot younger was, we knew what we wanted to do, but we didn't have the money back in those times to, pay producers or pay videographers or pay for studio time. So I came up with an idea. Like I sat them all down and I was like, yo, what if we just put money in the pot and we all chip in and we just buy all of our own equipment and we learn how to do all of this shit ourselves. And they were all with it. And that that kind of turned into, we all gonna put the money in, but you're like the mastermind, so you're gonna be the one to learn how to engineer, you're gonna be the one to learn how to produce, and you're gonna be the one to learn how to shoot videos. So it kind of it kind of turned into that, which I was fine with. Only it kind of, I wouldn't say it hindered me because it helped me learn a lot of things, but it slowed down, my music journey because I was putting so much into getting other people, you know what I mean, getting their stuff right. But I took a very, very, like, engineering's okay, producing is cool, but I took outside of rapping, which is what I love, I took a very, very strong liking to shooting videos. And that's just kind of how my videography journey started. It went from me shooting videos for myself and for the homies to me actually, you know, getting paid, gigs. And just over the years, I think I started shooting videos probably in 2007, maybe 2008. Over the years, I never really stopped. And it's something that, like I said, outside of music, it's something that I really enjoy doing. I do actually eventually want to get into like the whole cinematography world, but man, I can be a bit of a perfectionist. So like until I get like the right equipment and stuff in my hands that I know I want, is just like a realm that I just don't want to dive in until I can do it the right way. But I agree with your answer 100%. That's how I view videography and that's how I view cinematography. I do like to have like a cinematic element to all music videos I shoot, just because I lean more towards the cinematic side than like the crazy effects and things like that, which you might see in some music videos, and that's not a knock to any of that. That's just my style. I lean more towards like the cinematic style. But yeah, that's how I got into it, and that's why I consider myself a videographer.
You put a lot of thought into your craft. You said it. You're a bit of a perfectionist. You have this drop, just came out on catalog. You talked about how you're going to be activating around your brand come NFT NYC. What else can we expect from 20 Duce in the rest of 2022?
Yeah, so well, first of all, I got a couple collabs um that are coming from some pretty popular artists in the space. I won't give those names yet. I don't like to speak on things before they're done. I'm just kind of superstitious like that, but there're going to be some dope collabs. And then I want to release a project. I kind of want to do a mirror fund for an EP that I want to put together. So I may start putting that in motion. But one of the big things, and I spoke on it a little bit earlier, that I want to do, it won't be for NFT NYC because it's coming up too quickly, but maybe Art Basel. So my wife is she's a personal chef. Like she's a real legit chef. Like she does like athlete's foot corporate events. She cooked for the prime minister of the Bahamas. Like she's a real legit chef. And we came up with this idea. I have a project on Spotify. It's called You Deserve Hors d'oeuvres. It's an EP. But I came up with this idea. Well, actually my wife came up with the name. She was like, why don't you name it after your EP? So I want to do this event called You Deserve Hors d'oeuvres. And pretty much what I want to do is I want to do like I guess I would do it with Mirror. I want to raise, do a crowdfund, and I want to raise a certain amount of ETH to be able to cover, the cost of catering, for all my wife's fees, the cost of getting the venue, and then I want to have a couple of artists and be able to put some ETH in their pockets for performing. And I want to do like almost like a dinner party where, you come out, maybe 50 or so, 60 or so people, you know what I mean? You come out, you have some real good food, you get to see some dope artists perform, and you know what I mean. It's just like a private dinner party almost, and that's just a way for me to combine my world with my wife's world and do like an event together.
Hoo hoo hoo! I love that. And so, Money Trees is all about planting seeds, and I cannot wait to be an attendee at You Deserve Hors d'oeuvres. Gas name. We've been talking about the naming. Yo, G, this has been ill. I appreciate you coming through. I'm about to bump this record with Mick again. I listened to it after we had that. Well, after you had that space, and I pulled up there. Thought it was fire. Can't wait to see who collects it. Before I let you get out of here, there's two questions I ask every guest of the show. The first is going to be, what is your seed phrase? Now, I know in crypto, that's normally your account recovery key. I just don't think that seed phrase is a scary enough term for something that if you lose access to all of your NFTs, all of your cryptocurrency. So here on Money Trees, like I said, we're planting ideas, planting seeds. We've repurposed seed phrase to be a saying, a quote, a slogan, a motto, a lyric that you live by, that embodies your approach to your art, to your career, to your craft. 20 Duce. What is your seed phrase?
It would have to be, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. That's something that just always always stuck with me. In modern day 2022, in a nutshell, we would sum it up by saying stay dangerous. But that's pretty much a saying that I kind of live by. And the reason that I live by that is I look at it from a different perspective. If you really kind of break down that phrase, it kind of sounds like you're saying, hey, just stay dangerous. But when you look at it from a different angle, it's like not stay dangerous, just stay prepared. You know what I mean? If you know, they say proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. And I firmly believe in that. If you stay prepared, if you stay, on top of your game, then, you'll be prepared for whatever comes your way. And that's in the music world and that's in life. So that's just something that I live by.
Gee, that is such a tough seed phrase. I had actually wanted to talk to you a little bit about the impermanence of life because you had shared a story about a time when you had a pistol pressed against your head. And I felt like the tone of the conversation that we had, I didn't necessarily want to dive into that element. I think if it's a story you decide to share with the space or through records at a later date, people would be very interested to see that. But I think your seed phrase embodies what I got out of that, which was you need to appreciate this shit. It ain't guaranteed. When you get to that close to death, you look at life different. And to your point of always being prepared, always being ready, yeah, it's tough. That really resonates with me, and I appreciate you for sharing that. My
Yeah.
second question is going to be: what is the price of your one of one Money Trees number 54 note going to be listed at?
Ooh. Huh. My one-on-one money trees. You know what? One of one. Let's keep it. You know what? We're gonna since it's 20 Duce, we're gonna do two. Put it at 2 ETH.
2 ETH. There it is. Yo, Duce, man, this has been a fire conversation. I will have this on all of the streaming platforms and YouTube later today for everyone to listen back to. You have shared some gems, planted some dope seeds, and I'm excited to see what you have in store for us the rest of 2022.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you having me. This is a dope platform. I love tapping in and listening every time you have these. And just thank you for doing this. And please continue to keep pushing. And hopefully we get to link in real life.
NFT NYC, I'll be around. I feel like I'm gonna be outside 19 hours a day when
Yes,
everybody's
sir.
there. All right, yo, you enjoy the rest of your week. Peace, peace, peace.
All right, man. Appreciate it.